Friday, September 5th, 2025. This is HOA Today. HOA Today is brought to you by Zayuk Smart Property System. Zayuk is a startup that has released our preliminary product for HOA and condo associations to have the information in a repository they can reference, they can distribute to various stakeholders. That includes an inspection service where we will come to your home and do a reserve study inspection and give you the data that you need in a repository you can use, along with the reality capture, which includes flying a drone over your property, taking pictures of your roofs, of your balconies, of your asphalt, of your sidewalks, of your fencing, landscaping, painting, all these various systems that are in your association that you pay against. You have a collection system against your residents, and those collections go towards the management and maintenance of your property. And for HOAs and condos, there is a decentralized asset ownership model that involves governance, including rules such as bylaws, rules, and regulations that members of the association are held to. So it is not a simple system, but it is a widely used system. People enjoy living in a home that is theirs, and there's a complex set of rules that go along with that, and they are different across every state. Florida has been passing a lot of laws. California has been passing a lot of laws. Minnesota as well. Various states recognize that through insurance, through huge increases in insurance, tagged along with housing shortages in certain areas, such as California, which have created a huge surge in pricing. It is a tumultuous time, and it's all coming together for various states. Specifically, Florida and California have been fairly difficult to manage, but in all of them, even in Georgia, there are problems. And today we will speak about a condo in St. Louis County, North St. Louis County. This is by KSDK. There was an explosion in the HOA. This is in Missouri. 10 days after a massive explosion destroyed homes and damaged condos, many residents are unable to return. There's frustration boiling over in the HOA, and what seems the HOA is absent. It occurred on August 25th. Red tagged several condo buildings, rendering them condemned and unsafe, including Spring Creek condominiums on Candlewick Club Drive, which is across the street from the exploded home. Wow. Even though their condos are too damaged to live in, they pay a monthly condominium fee, $275 a month, and they want us to keep paying that, which is wrong because we can't live here. The HOA has done nothing, no answers, no help. In the absence of help from the HOA, most residents have to rely on insurance, and many are living in hotels with companies like ServPro hired by insurers to help people safely retrieve their belongings. Many residents are speaking with attorneys or quote unquote lawyering up. Catastrophic. Ceilings are on the floor, insulation all over the place, holes in the wall. That's a very extreme thing, an explosion. And it destroys your property. That's stressful. And the interior inspection by the property manager would occur 2 weeks after the disaster. And they quote unquote were basically breaking and entering. to get their belongings. Another resident is complaining about various topics like the HOA is attempting to hide something or covering up things that should have been done years ago. Another resident states there are continued reports of gas smells. So that is a new, there's a lot of complexities about that, and there's no way we could judge anything. But when you get that into question, was this a gas leak? Where does the liability lie? What are the laws in Missouri? What are the bylaws in that association? And in several states, these bylaws become very critically important because here in California, we have a lot of laws. Florida also is now bringing a lot of laws that really limit the homeowner associations of capability. But in a lot of states, you do not have those laws. So having a homeowner association in a state that doesn't have robust HOA laws, and not to say that they're all good, but they are usually in place to defend the resident in case of predatory behavior from various managers or residents. But when you don't have that, then the HOA becomes even more critical because when you sign those laws, you're held obligated to those laws. So there's actually a huge degree of liability and not just liability, but your obligation. There's a huge sense of obligation that once you sign up for these laws, you must live by them, or there's a liability towards that. Okay, we'll continue. This is Yahoo Life, the cool down, which usually goes to a Reddit page. One Redditor found that their HOA limited the number of plants on patios to 6, and this biologist has many more, which are native plants that they raised. And they're going to bring it up in the next board meeting. This article continues to state government officials, including people in charge of HOAs, don't know a lot of native plants. This is true, and not to bash board members or executive members, but homeowner associations are fairly complex. There's a lot of systems that go into it: landscaping, stucco, HVAC, electrical, roofing, asphalt, sprinkler, plumbing, irrigation, gas, structural, foundational, a lot of different systems, trees, a lot of different systems, parking that go into it. And to be an expert in one, legal, accounting, finances, law, it's a business as well, and a government. It's a business and a government. It's difficult to manage, and it's difficult to comprehend as well. Many people have difficulty comprehending what's going on because it's difficult. Make friends. And then this article states, in the North American Butterfly Association offers tips for working with your HOA. Channeling energy into changing laws that govern your garden is more fruitful than stowing in frustration. Make friends with the board, educate them about plants and their benefits. Most people, yes, that's true. Be cordial and work with people. Try not to blame them. This is another HOA member tells renters that they're breaking the rules, but renters tell them to talk to their landlord. That's an interesting situation. And usually in long-term rentals, having this goes on. This is quite a poorly written article, so I'm not going to read it. But the concept of renters in an HOA becomes, when it's a renter who has a long-term lease, they should understand the rules, which Zayuk provides renters the rules, tenants the rules in for condos and HOA associations. Additionally, one big issue becomes short-term renters, because short-term renters don't have as much stake in the property. They actually have very little to none, other than maybe a few $100 and their Airbnb rating. But long-term renters have a lot more reason. There's a lot higher possibility they'll be there next month and the month after and the month after. And so it's important for renters to understand the governance items. And it's important for communities who do not want short-term renters to make sure they're not permitted in the association or the property, because they just won't live and they won't care too much about being cordial, respecting the property. Here's another, the cool down TCD in Yahoo News. Environmental destruction by the association. Cut down 30 trees over 6 business days and plan to cut down 72 trees total. Most of them 47-year-old specimens, and they're leaving stumps. Didn't notify the homeowners. Tree trimming and maintenance. It's very difficult, and this is why Zayuk Safe is such a critical system. And next week we're going to bring in a lot of these features and do demos on it. But it becomes visually contextual, and the importance of visual context is critical. You want to have the ability to communicate cheaply and simply in a way that's interpretable, which Zayuk does through our 3D models, through our reality captures for your stakeholders, for your residents. So you actually take more of that communication and automate it, not through human communication, but visual contexts, which through dashboards of various items become really important. Okay, we'll continue. And give you the tools to more easily distribute information like this, because it's all about communication at the end of the day. If you can communicate effectively, things will work out. And if you can't, things will be very difficult. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. This is by the Adirondack Daily Enterprise. Effort to resist sale of Cascade Acres appears successful. The HOA signs contract to purchase mobile home park and transfer to local park manager instead of equity firm. Lake Placid, last minute attempt by residents of Cascade Acres mobile home park to stop the sale of the park to PE firm. New HOA All parties have signed the purchase agreement with anticipated closure in fall. MH Communities Limited announced its intentions to sell to Crown Communities LLC, the PE firm, but residents moved fast and they formed an HOA, exercised the right of first refusal on the sale, got a $5.4 million state loan to match the appraised property value, got an additional $420,000 loan from the village of Lake Placid to match the gap between the state loan and Crown's offer. Recruited Montauk, who owns the Birch Park Community Mobile Home Park in Lake Clear, to be the property manager and financier. That's amazing organization. That's really quick. In the spring this occurred, and they did that all within 3 or 4 and 5 months. I mean, things could have gone crazy there. They formed an HOA. I'm sure for many of those people, it seemed like fight or flight at that point. A rumor sprung up that Crown planned to replace the manufactured homes with condos, which was never substantiated. That was a rumor. Contract would have required them to keep the land as modular home park for 5 years. HOA co-founder Ryan Preston said the park might have been fine under Crown, but they didn't want to risk it. This is where HOAs get a bad rap, but in certain situations, the issues with HOAs is the distribution of information, which Zayuk provides and gives you platform to have more let the property have autonomy. That's our perspective. Is it's about property. That's why we do inspections. That's why we combine physical with digital and digital twin, because you want the property to have its agency, which is a little crazy to think about, letting the property have agency, but that's what you need. The property needs its own repository system. It needs to go back to a visual context. It needs to be, done on NVIDIA technology so that the property can understand what's going on and off through AI. It's visually contextual. Vision. Humans, huge part of our brain goes to vision allocation. And so let me just. %90 of the information the brain needs to function comes from the eye through eye to brain pathways. Vision is vital to brain function and development. So let me just repeat that. 90% of the information the brain needs to function comes from the eye through eye to brain pathways. That is a misremembered reference. Hold on. That's what it says. 90% of the information the brain receives is vision. And when you think about NVIDIA as the GPU technology that was founded through video games, you can make, and now it's really great for AI. Well, if 90% of your AI comes from vision, it seems like vision is a very important portion of it. And that's why Zayuk brings in all of these items, and it's very powerful. Okay, so let's continue. The park's potential sale drew the attention of people from around the area who were concerned about its future. Everywhere, people ask them about how it's going in the community. Neighborhood is home to 200 employees, 30 seniors and veterans, and 5 to 7% of the school district's students. Small towns are tough. Small towns likely need HOAs more than large towns. Nah, they're both useful. They're both useful. Okay, let's continue. State loan is 20 years, the village 15. Some individual loans people as well. The seller didn't immediately accept the HOA's purchase offer. They just wanted to make sure that they were getting their money. State law manufactured home parks cannot raise lot rents more than 3% per year unless they can prove they have a valid and required operating expense increases. The maximum is at 6. Okay. Well, that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hopefully you all have a great Friday ahead of you. Hopefully you all enjoy the week ahead of you, the weekend ahead of you, and had a great week behind you. Thank you so much.